This is one of the biggest endeavors I've ever done on my channel, so I would like to introduce you to 100 days in Minecraft with no food. That being said, let's get into the video. So on day 1 I decided to get a boat, as boats conserve hunger and overall I'm going to need it for movement. Although I had to get out of the boat to explore the rest of the village, and unfortunately it did take a lot of hunger. I was able to grab some flint, which I would turn into a fletching table as soon as I possibly could. I'm going to use this fletching villager to become big money baller, but I'm getting ahead of myself, so we went to bed and day 2 started. I grabbed some materials, which with I was able to make a wooden pickaxe and a stone axe. I used the stone axe to cut down a bunch of trees to get logs for our fletching villager. After grabbing a pretty absurd amount of logs, I was able to turn them into planks and then sticks to trade them with the villager. I was getting one step closer to becoming Minecraft's first millionaire, but the thing was, I wasn't doing it with quite enough efficiency. In the meantime, I bought a bow and some arrows, and I ended up collecting a bunch more sticks, wood, and just some overall resources. Afterwards, I went to bed. As the night gave way to day 3, I decided to fortify the village a little bit by placing slabs to make sure that I don't have to use as much hunger jumping around the village. Afterwards, I did some trading, and I actually just decided to go to bed straight after trading with my villagers. Unfortunately, tragedy struck on day 4. I accidentally misclicked on an iron golem, and I ended up dying. I wanted this to be a deathless playthrough, so it kinda sucked, but I was able to get all my stuff pretty quickly. Afterwards, I decided to take revenge on the iron golem. Since iron golems are weak and absolutely terrible creatures, I was able to destroy this man very quickly. Filled with absolute rage at all iron golems, I couldn't find any more in the village, so I decided to go to bed. Upon waking up on day 5, I was able to take out my wrath against an iron golem nearby. I was also able to finally make a cauldron with all the iron that we had collected from iron golems. This allows us to get the leather working villager, who I would end up buying a ton of pants from. I don't really know why, but eventually we'll be able to use him to get a saddle. After leveling up the villager by filling my entire inventory with pants, I was able to get a pretty much full set of leather armor aside from the helmet, and from here I decided to mine a bunch of clay for villager trade. Clay is a very overpowered trade for villagers, so I decided to get a bunch. Afterwards, I then just went to bed. Essentially instantly the next day, we were able to trade all of our clay for emeralds. With the immense amount I had gathered yesterday, I was able to finally buy some more things from the leatherworking villager, including some leather horse armor, and finally a saddle. I tamed and saddled a horse, which will be incredibly useful in this series. Essentially, a horse allows me to not take hunger when I'm moving, although it still makes it so when I break blocks I still lose hunger. But anyway, we were able to beat our first mob, a spider, on a horse. After hopping into bed from our horse and getting the deepest sleep of our life, day 7 decided to roll around. On day 7, I was able to trade a bunch more clay for some emeralds, and from here I decided to make some big money moves by building a mob grinder. Unfortunately, it's literally impossible to build a mob grinder on a horse, so it ended up being a huge problem, and I also ended up taking a ton of damage from falling off of this tower repeatedly. Unfortunately, I have to abandon the project for now, but we breeded some chickens and then finally just decided to go to bed. I spotted an iron golem on the morning of day 8, and I was not about to let that slide. I ended up taking a ton of shots at this iron golem, and thankfully we were able to trap him behind some hay bales. I guess their AI is too stupid to decide to move past the hay bales, so I was able to pick off a pretty clean kill and get some more iron. Hopefully the death of this iron golem will remind all the other iron golems that this is not a safe space for them. Afterwards, I decided to make some incredible progress by building a nether portal. Unfortunately, I'm really bad at building nether portals, so it literally took ages. And while you're watching this absolutely terrible building of a nether portal, I'm gonna explain how we're gonna try and traverse this series. If I don't get food, I'm gonna starve over and over again, and obviously that's not what I want. So here are a few ideas that I had. Firstly, we can just make sure that we never get off our horse and don't lose hunger that way, but we still need to break blocks somehow, so that kind of becomes an issue. I also thought about getting totems of undying to maybe help with starvation. I'm not entirely sure. But leave your comments down below and I guess maybe we can figure out something, but at this point it's getting a little bit worrying. As I was building the nether portal, I was pondering what I should do, but honestly I still have no idea even to this day. Even though we were able to get a good portion of the nether portal done, I ended up taking damage from walking over an obsidian block and taking suffocation damage, so it wasn't looking too great. Thankfully I was able to finish the portal, but I didn't have anything to light it. Thankfully I was also able to grab a flint and steel very easily, so I ran over to the portal and lit it up, hoping to find something good in the nether. Well, yeah, it didn't really happen. Our nether spawn was awful and I decided to just go back. Thankfully though, I was able to find a pillager outpost, which could be kind of huge for the series. If I'm able to make a farm out of this pillager outpost, I might be able to get bad omen effects to make raids to get totems of undying. With their little meager crossbows, the pillagers had no answer to me, and while I was on a pretty fast horse, I was able to snipe a bunch of them, and I just ended up going to bed. On day 9, I decided to tame some donkeys and bring them back home. I don't really know what the purpose of it was, but it happened. I also tried to send my horse into the nether, but yeah, you can see for yourself what happened. Rest in peace, Precarious Martinez, you were a great horse, but I had to grab another horse, and it actually turned out to be a lot faster than my last one, so we kind of made some upgrades. Even still, I'm at 1 heart and it's not looking great. So I decided to just go to bed for the day and see what happens tomorrow. I was lost and confused on day 10, so I made my way over to the pillager outpost and decided to start making a tunnel under it. I don't really know what I was thinking, but I might have been trying to make a farm or something like that, but it didn't really work out and I just kind of got bored. Oh, and yeah, I might have burnt down the entire pillager outpost in the process. Yeah. After absolutely pillaging, ransacking, and absolutely hornswoggling those pillagers, I made my way back to the base to breed some chickens. I was also able to jump on some crops with my horse, which I realized doesn't take any hunger to harvest them. After that, the first 10 days came to a close, and I kinda didn't know what to do. But thank you all for sticking around, and I'm very excited to make this a series. Hopefully I don't just die, but we'll see. And with that being said, have an amazing day, and thank you for watching till the end of this video.